How's it going, everyone? My name is Jimmy Barrios. And today we're going to be going over another AWS lab that I developed on. This one's on IAM enumeration and overly permissive roles that can allow an attacker to assume a role and do further recognizance and enumeration on your users and on your AWS account. So here in this scenario, we have a contractor's IAM role gets used to run AWS IAM list users and AWS IAM list roles. Someone gave the role broad IAM read permissions for visibility or debugging. A lot of times, engineers or tend to give some of the contractors even employees just wide permissions just so that they don't can avoid just the constant back and forth of, oh, I need access to this or I need access to that, right? But doing that can, if an attacker gets a hold of those credentials, it can be a bad day. So now an attacker gets a hold of these credentials and they can map out your entire account, users roles, policies. They can hunt down for further privilege escalation paths. So here we'll continue further, and what we'll learn in this lab is we'll be able to explain how IAM enumeration leads to privilege escalation and the paths that an attacker can take. We'll run some realistic IAM enumeration using the AWS CLI. Our architecture that was developed here using Terraform is we're going to set up the IAM role, which will be called Lab 002 Attacker Role. We're going to be setting up a CloudTrail trail to monitor those API calls that we'll be doing through the CLI. We have our S3 bucket to send over our CloudTrail logs, and we're going to set up CloudWatch to be able to review those logs using log insights, so we can see the attack patterns and how we can remediate those attack patterns. So let's go ahead and get started here. I'm going to go ahead and I've already gone ahead and launched the lab, but you can just go ahead and map your AWS profile so you can you don't have to be constantly doing the -- profile and your profile name. Then these are the steps you can go ahead and use to launch the lab. All the labs that I'm building are all on my GitHub under AWS Security Labs. So far, I have 2 labs created. So here we'll start with our attacker perspective, right? We're going to start, of course, we have to find out, whose access do we have, right? And then then the attacker will start with listing roles, listing users, listing policies, seeing what permissions that IAM identity has. So we'll start here with our IAM list roles, right? Let me go ahead and get back to the console. So let's see here, we'll do IAM list roles. And if you see, we're going to be able to see a ton of roles in here. We're going to see all the AWS service linked roles, right? If we want to kind of filter through all of this noise, you'll be probably hitting enter here for a while if you don't, right? What we can do is you can go ahead and run this command to kind of filter out this list. Let's see how we can run this -- query. All right. I believe it's something like, oh, I'm not typing anything. 1 second. There we go. Sometimes when the AWS CLI gets stuck and you'll have to hit Control-C a couple times just to escape out of it. So we'll do IAM list roles -- query. Get -- query. Or actually, let's go over this route. Here, we'll do -- I believe. There we go. had it already there. Prefix. And then let's just do query role. Oh. Role name dash, and we'll output this to a table so we can easily view it. But what we're doing here is we're just kind of grepping out, right? Anything that where the roles and the role name. So if you see here, you'll see where it says the role names here. So that's kind of what we're looking at here. And then we'll run this. And it gives us our list. It lists our users. Or lists our roles, I'm sorry. And these, you'll notice these off the bat, these are your typical, your AWS service roles. You'll see when you see different names like this is a sign that this is a custom role that someone created on this account. So we're going to assume that this is our attacker role. And we know it is because of our lab notes, right? But in this case, an attacker would see that and know that that's going to probably be a role that they want to look at. So our next step here will be to try and assume that role, right? So we'll do here, what we can do is we'll do AIM, get role, and do, I believe it's role name, and let's do this role here. We'll see what this role has. So we can see here the effects for this role are allow, and it will allow the action of STS assume role. So here we know we can use this to assume this role. So what we'll do now is we're going to go ahead and assume that role and do, STS assume role ARN, and we're going to get our role ARN here, right? And then we'll do role dash session dash name, and it's already all typed out there, but I like typing it out, just helps me learn the syntax. And our role name is that one. Yes, correct. Next. All right, now we got here, what just happened is we just got a temporary session token for that role. So we need to put this into our AWS credentials now so that we can start enumerating the account using this role. To do that, we'll just do export AWS access key ID equals to our access key ID here. We'll do the same for the AWS secret access key equals and one more, our AWS session token. Session token equals all right. Now if we do AWS STS get caller identity, we're going to see that now we're lab 02 attacker role. So that's our new IAM identity that we have access to now. So we'll go ahead and do here now IAM list users, and we're able to list all the users. We'll do IAM list roles, and we'll see that we should have access to list all the roles. Okay, let's go ahead and cancel out of that. All right, now we want to see what permissions, what policies or permissions this role has. So we can continue our enumeration and see how what escalation path we'll have here. So we'll do a IAM list attached policies or attached role policies for our role name of our lab 02 attacker role. All right, so this is going to show you that it's empty. There is no attached role policies here. This means that there's no managed policies, right? So this returns empty. There's no AWS managed policies attached to this, but list role policies shows inline policies that are attached. The inline policy is attached to a specific account, to just to one user, not to all. So we'll do here AWS IAM get role policy, role name, or sorry, not get role policy. We actually want to list the roles, right? List the role. We still don't know what policies this role has attached. So we'll do list roles, role name, and we see here that we have policy name of IAM enumeration policy. So this is clear indication we want to see what this policy has, right? So we'll go ahead now, do IAM get role policy, and do R002 attacker role policy name and IAM enumeration policy. So now we're seeing everything that this role has access to do. So it has the actions of IAM list users, list roles, get users, get roles. So everything on this actions list, we have allow access to. This shows us that escalation path at this point, where now the user is just going to be able to continue to list users. So if there was a lot more users on this account, a lot more roles and policies in place, it leads to some type of privilege escalation, right? Where they'll just keep enumerating and enumerating until they find that one account that has just that right access that can lead them to an account takeover, or just some type of malicious activity that they'll do on your account. So now what we'll do is we'll look at we'll take this and review it as the on our attacker perspective. Actually, well, I missed a step here. We'll look at the IAM get user policy, right? Username. We know our username is labdev. Well, sorry, not labdev. Our username for our IAM role, our IAM user was Oh, sorry. Yeah. So we'll go back and we'll look now at on the defender side. Um, you can go ahead now unset these credentials on the defender side. We're going to go ahead and do everything through the console. So if you want to just go back to your IAM to your user role, we can just unset the this role that we assumed by doing AWS access key, unset access key, secret, and session token. Do that. Now we go ahead and do AWS STS get caller identity again. Now we're back to our original user account. So here we'll now go into the AWS console, and we're gonna go and look through on the as a defender, right? We're gonna look through to see all this enumeration that just occurred on our account. You know, we hope we have alerts that are set up that will monitor this and notify us, hey, someone's doing some enumeration that doesn't look like normal user activity, right? So we'll go to CloudWatch here. And then we'll go to Log Insights. Here we'll go ahead and look at our logs, and we'll select our log group. So this is the log group that was set up when we deployed the lab. And then here we can just start filtering and doing some research on the logs, right? So I've already mapped this out. So it's, we're going to look at the fields, we're going to look at the timestamps, the event name, user identities. We started getting alerts on this, right? So now we're just kind of digging into it and seeing what really occurred here. So if we look at this and we run it, we should get back all that activity that occurred in our logs. Let me see if I can. There we go. And here we'll start seeing everything, all the actions that we took, all the enumeration that we did, where we list users. We continue. Here's where we do the get role. Right, and if we look down here, we'll see here, this is the request for the role name, or the attacker role that we assumed, the source IP of where it came from, and then and you can keep digging through these logs. You can keep refining your searches, your queries. You can, if you, let's say we want to go deeper into digging into the log. So, oh, I did something wrong here with this one. There we go. So yeah, now to harden this environment, right? Once you identify this and you see, oh wow, why does that user have? Why is it so overly provisioned? This account shouldn't have, an assumed role, to be able to enumerate all our users and roles and policies. So through the console, we can go back, and now we'll just go ahead and you can do it through the console or through the CLI. Again, I'm just trying to get more experience with the CLI and commands and whatnot. So what we'll do is here we'll delete the role policy and do role name. And we know that our role name was lab002. Attacker role. And then we know the policy name that was attached to that, which was extremely over provisioned, was IAM enumeration policy, I believe it was. That should now delete that policy from that IAM role, right? That's in that inline policy that was attached to it. Now it's not deleted. It's been detached from that rule. And you can check that, if you want on the console, or you can just do it through the CLI here as well, where you can try and do assume role, and then we can just do the same thing here, right? We'll do well. Let's see if this works. Actually, I think it might not work because we unset, but we'll try and do. I believe that was RARN. Session name. Let's see, and we'll do. Oh, there we go. Right, so we still have our session there. And then now let's do AIM. Oh, IAM. I always confuse it. List users. We did something wrong. I think I'm listing I'm listing my. But you get the point. We delete that IAM enumeration, right? Then you can check it through the console as well. If you go in here and we do we go into IAM. My internet is extremely slow today. IAM. We'll do roles. And let's look for our lab attacker role. And let's see what policies it has in place. So if you see here, there's no policies. Because we removed it, right? So there's no permissions at this point. None are set. So, why this matters. Again, this is a path that attackers usually take to do a lot of reconnaissance and enumeration on your AWS accounts. You have threat actors like Scattered Spider, Cozy Bear. They use a lot of this type of enumeration on cloud accounts to help them, from going from a low-level user to being able to do account takeovers. This is the importance. This shows the importance of setting some type of following some type of compliance foundations like CIS, AWS foundations. To your least privileges, following least privileged, only grant IAM permissions to roles that actually need it. Definitely monitor your cloud trail for enumerations and set up alerts on those. So yeah, that's this lab. Stay tuned for more. I'm going through the process of trying to create a lot more of these type of labs, and through the process, hopefully get a lot better at this. So we'll go ahead and now I'll destroy my lab here using the Terraform destroy command, and yeah, thank you guys for watching.